Hey guys, I'm Mr. Build 1125 and today I'm going to be teaching you all about precision alignment since it's not exactly an easy tool to pick up if you're just learning how to play Gmod. So first things first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spawn in a plate from S-Props. S-Props is essential if you want to build, so if you can, get that from the workshop. So I'm just going to get a 30 by 66. Doesn't really matter what size you use, this is just for demonstration. So first, go to the tool, precision alignment. And I'm going to teach you all about point first. Then in another video we'll go to line and then plane. So points, what you can do is you can put them on whatever you're building with, and getting smart snap is also really good for this. And what happens is wherever you place that point, a point appears, you know. So what I can do is I can get another chassis, a 30 by 78. Well, not chassis, sorry, I build vehicles. And then if I hold shift and click, I'll put down a second point, alright? Now if I right click this, it turns blue, and that means I've selected that entity, as it says in the top left. So, now, if I press Q or press C, I can go from point 2 and point 1, those are already selected, and I can do move entity. Alright? So, in the left column, it's basically you're moving that one to that point. And if you accidentally go like this, it doesn't work. Just so you know. If I do 1 to 2, that doesn't work either because I don't have 1 selected. So if I were to select 1, so I have point 1 right here, and I've put it in the 1 selection, and put point 2 as the send one, it'll move right there. Alright. So next, sorry about the keyboard by the way, I press delete all. What this does is it gets rid of the points, but if I have something selected and I press delete all, it doesn't unselect. What you have to do is just hit the ground. Now, sometimes when building, let's say maybe you want to build quickly, what you can do is put on snap to edges and snap to center lines. Enable construct displays, I don't actually really know what that does, so I just don't even mess with it. But just have it turned on. So, snap to edges and snap to center lines. What this does is if I were to put this on and just crank this all the way up, if I click here, it goes straight to the center. That's why you want to have this on, but low. So like 1.5 is what I use. So if I click right around there, which generally means I'm trying to get center, it'll just go to center. Now edges, what that is that one, on, goes to corners. I don't know really why it's edges, since ideally this is also an edge, but yeah, goes to corners. We'll turn those back on here in a second. Alright, so now that I've done that, you know the basics of moving plates. Congratulations, you learned. So yeah, just take this and take that. So yeah, now what I'm going to teach you next is moving points. So you place a point here, and let's say maybe I want that point to be higher up. You go into here, and remember, secondary select entity. So if something ever says relative to entity, that is whatever is right clicked. If nothing's right clicked at the time, what happens is when I check this box, because right now it's relative to world. When I check the box, first I gotta select point 1. Check the box. Look at that. It's all just random coordinates. Horrible. If when I click this, and I unselect, it selects. Never mind. Sorry about that. So, see here, these are my points. Now, sometimes these won't be perfectly even like this one. I'm not 100% sure why. On servers, it will never be 100% perfectly even. You have to set it like that. On servers, it doesn't send all the data over the server. So if you really want to make something perfectly accurate, you need to play either single player or go through and edit these yourself. Like this. Change these number values. I would never recommend using these sliders because, I mean, just look at that. Basically 0 to 1,000. I've changed the point. Well, I've changed the settings in the point, so now it moves. So, basically what I can tell is this point is up and down. Why I can tell that is because right now, this is the center of up and down. And notice how this number is really small? That shows. So if I were to put that to 3, it would double the height. Go up. So I can have it off the center point, off the prop, right click this, move it over, and it's floating. See? Real neat for building. Always remember that. So now, I can also, back to 1.5, goes right back. Maybe I want to change this. And this will be along the center. Because I can tell that this way is the 33 one because it's the farthest. But if you're using a prop that's the exact same length, like 30 by 30, it's going to be a little harder to figure out. But I'm pretty sure generally this one should be the value. I decide, depending on what side you're using. So, yeah, never mind. Just forget what I just said. Alright. There we go. I've moved that. And by the way, these props, this is the way I have my grid set up. Really good for you to set it up like this. Also, I'll show you the settings real fast. Sorry. This is what I have mine set to. If you want, you can copy that. You can pause the video and stop. So, these, if you move it back by 3 on these settings, it goes half a square over. So there's a little pro tip for you. So let's say I'm at 15, and I want to go all the way to that line right there. Lower it to 9, and boom. So you go. Easy and simple for it. So now I can make this to the center if I want, something like that. Now let's say I want to move it front and back. I hope that's correct. I would just take this one, let's say I want to move it down by 10. Boom. Now 10 back. And I can still take this over and boom. Now, you can also set these numbers ridiculously high, so like, we'll just go 1,000. And point is now all the way up there, and I can still move this all the way up there. It doesn't matter. As long as there's a point for the other point to go to, this tool does not care at all. So now, we'll bring it back down here. Go up here, select this, move entity. There you go. You've learned how to adjust points now in the point system. Congratulations. So, we're going to hit delete all. Oh, yeah. And I will tell you about, I'll just hit delete all because you might have. So, place a point, and now we'll teach you some basics. View brings you right to the point you have selected over here. So, like, if I put down a second point, if it's in the left column selected and I click view, it brings me right to that point. Yeah, there you go. Now, here's a very important one. So I've placed this point right here, and let's say, oh no, I didn't mean to click there. Or maybe, what you sometimes want to do is say, this prop right here is too long for what I want to use it for. So, I have it in the perfect spot, but maybe there's just a block or two hanging off. I would right click here, select this entity, and do attach. See how the line is moved? That shows it's attached to this prop now. So, I can delete this one. By the way, this is pressing C and right clicking. I do remove. Then I spawn in a new one, place a point here, and boom, it's moved. Right where the old one used to be. Voila. So now I'm going to teach you about coordinated center. Now this is not one I personally use. I've never really had a use to use it, but I'm pretty sure all this will do is here. I'll take something like, okay, this is called ACF. It's used for making engine. Well, it's used so you can put engines in vehicles. I don't know. It's really weird to explain. So mass center takes the center of this object, and you notice, and if you can see, the box on it is really weird. So when I click, notice how it's not center. Because the box is really funky, so ideally I'd have to right click this, go into points, right? See how it's off? I'd have to press 0, which zeroes everything, and do set. Now what coordinated center does is click, it automatically sets it to that 0 point. And so, on some props, though, the 0 point of them is not exactly center. Like I showed you with mass center. This takes the center of all this mass. I hope I'm explaining this correctly. So, basically, if you see on the smart snap where the center is, and the coordinated center is the actual center that the prop has, where whoever made it put it, I believe. Funky to explain. But yeah, mass center will work. Same with coordinate center, they're kind of the same thing. That one I shouldn't have to explain too much because coordinate center right here, boom, center, mass center, boom. Oh, here, let me place that down. Here, I'll replace that one. So, see, they're both exactly the same in the center. Now, when I said replace there, what you can do is, see this, I have point 2 selected. Now, unless I press shift, like I told you, it won't go up to a new one. Like, a new point won't be placed. So I can just keep replacing point 2. But if I press shift, I get point 3. Remember that. Very important. Especially to build faster. Now, bounding box center. I've never used this one. I don't really know why you would need to use this one. I'm pretty sure this is literally just a mass center. So, that one's not crazy important. So yeah, your basics really are hit pause, or I think it's hit position, and mass center. That's all you really need to worry about when using precision alignment points. Coordinate center maybe sometimes, I don't know. Yeah. There you go. That should pretty much be all. And then next, I'll show you how to use these to actually make stuff.